So, there I was, standing at my post in Outpost Meridian, thinking this would be just another boring rotation on Talos 9. Yeah, right. Commander Vex, that's me by the way, had exactly 3 hours of peace before the humans showed up. 3 whole hours. Now, let me paint you a picture here. Talos 9 is a moon. A small moon. A moon with gravity so pathetic that you could sneeze and probably achieve orbit. We're talking 0.23 standard Gs here, folks. My coffee floats more than it pours, and don't even get me started on what happens when you try to use the bathroom. Some things are just not meant to be done in low gravity, trust me on that one. Outpost Meridian sits right on the edge of the Kishar crater, which, sure, sounds impressive until you realize we're basically a glorified rest stop for cargo haulers and the occasional scientific team who got lost. My security detail consists of 8, count them, 8 soldiers. 8, we've got more people working in the cafeteria than protecting this place. But hey, what could possibly go wrong on a remote moon in the middle of nowhere, right? Wrong. So very, very wrong. The transmission came in at 0900 hours. Human diplomatic vessel requesting permission to dock. Routine trade negotiations, they said. Standard protocol, they said. Nothing to worry about, they said. And I, like an idiot, believed them. My second in command, Lieutenant Cora, a Xanthari with more sense than the rest of us combined, immediately pulled up every file we had on humans. Spoiler alert, it wasn't exactly comforting reading material. Deathworld species. Persistence hunters. Binocular vision. Endurance that makes no sense from an evolutionary standpoint. Oh, and apparently they're called the crazy ones in about 15 different languages across the galaxy. Fantastic. Commander, Cora said, her 3 eyes blinking in that way that meant she was seriously concerned. Perhaps we should increase security presence at the docking bay, for a diplomatic mission. I laughed. Actually laughed. Oh, past me, you naive, foolish creature. Sir, the reports say humans are, quote, unpredictable in their movement patterns. Their military tactics involve something they call running at their enemies, while screaming, on purpose. I waved her off. That's probably just propaganda. You know how these rumors get exaggerated. They're here for trade negotiations, not a fight. Besides, we're on a low-gravity moon. If anything, they'll be at a disadvantage stumbling around like newborn Quolix. Cora didn't look convinced, but she nodded anyway. I'll have teams stationed at checkpoints Alpha through Delta, just in case. You do that, I said, turning back to my console. I'm sure it'll be fine. Narrator's note. It was not fine. Not even a little bit fine. Not in the same galaxy as fine. The human ship came in smooth. I'll give them that. The Endeavor. A mid-sized diplomatic cruiser. Nothing fancy. Standard docking procedures. Everything by the book. For about 5 minutes I actually thought maybe, just maybe, this would be a normal day. Then the airlock opened, and out stepped Drevin Webb, human diplomat. Now, I'd seen images of humans before. We all had. But seeing one in person? Different experience entirely. They're tall. These creatures. Taller than they have any right to be. This Drevin fellow stood at least 2 full heads above me, with shoulders that looked like they could carry a small cargo container. His skin was this weird peachy tan color, and he had hair. Actual hair on his head. Brown stuff. Cut short and neat. Professional looking. But his eyes, oh those eyes. Forward-facing. Predator eyes. Both of them pointing in the same direction, tracking movement with this intensity that made my scales itch. You know how most civilized species have eyes on the sides of their heads. Proper eyes that let you see threats from multiple angles. Not humans. No, they decided to go full hunter mode and just stare at you with both eyes at once. It's unsettling is what it is. Greetings, Drevin said, his voice coming out in that low rumble humans use for communication. I'm Drevin Webb, trade representative from the Terran Diplomatic Corps. Thank you for allowing us to dock. He smiled, showed his teeth, all of them, just right there, in the open, a full display of bone-white crushing implements. In most cultures that's a threat display, but no, apparently humans do this when they're being friendly. Sure, makes perfect sense. Show everyone your weapons when you're trying to be nice. Commander Vex. I managed extending my hand in the human gesture I'd practiced. His grip was firm. Too firm. I felt every single bone in my hand contemplate retirement. Beautiful facility you have here, Drevin continued, looking around the docking bay with those forward-facing nightmare eyes. I've never been to a low-gravity moon before. This should be interesting. Cora shot me a look. That look. The one that said, I told you so without actually saying it. Yeah, interesting was definitely one word for what was about to happen. Definitely not the word I would have chosen, but sure, let's go with interesting. So, the negotiations were going fine. Actually fine this time, not my usual sarcastic fine. Drevin sat in our conference room, reviewed the trade agreements, asked reasonable questions about shipping routes and tariff schedules. Boring stuff, safe stuff, the kind of stuff that doesn't result in incident reports. Then he asked to inspect the landing pad. Standard procedure, he explained, standing up from the table. We need to verify the pad can handle our heavy cargo vessels. Just a quick visual assessment. Measurements, structural integrity check. 15 minutes, tops. I should have said no. I should have told him we'd send our own team to do it. I should have done literally anything other than what I actually did, which was say, sure, no problem. Cora will escort you. Cora gave me that look again. You know the one. The look that says, Commander, are you experiencing some kind of mental breakdown or are you just naturally this stupid? It'll be fine, I told her quietly. Just stay with him. Make sure he doesn't trip over anything in the low gravity. These high-grav worlders always have trouble adjusting. Famous last words right there. Should have had them engraved on my tombstone. Drevin stepped into the airlock leading to the exterior landing pad. Cora followed, along with 2 security officers, Ren and Tolas. Good soldiers, both of them. Experienced, trained, completely unprepared for what was about to happen. I watched from the observation deck as the outer door opened. Talos 9's thin atmosphere meant they all had to wear breathers, these little masks that covered their mouths and noses. Drevin adjusted his, gave a thumbs up to Cora, which I guess meant he was ready, and stepped outside. That's when it happened. Drevin took one step. One single step. A normal walking stride. The kind you'd take going to get coffee or heading to your ship or literally any other mundane activity. Except, well, 0.23 gravity had other ideas. He launched into the air like he'd been fired from a cannon. I'm talking 6, maybe 7 meters straight up. Just whoosh, gone. Airborne. His legs were still moving in a walking motion which made it look like he was running, in mid-air, toward nothing. Contact. Ren shouted into the comm. The human is airborne. Repeat, airborne. What? I stared at my screen. What do you mean airborne? He jumped, sir. Aggressive vertical maneuver. He's still going up. I switched to the external cameras. Sure enough, there was Drevin Webb, human diplomat, floating upward in a graceful arc about 7 meters above the landing pad. His arms were out slightly, probably for balance, but from our angle it looked like he was adopting an attack posture. That's not a jump, Cora said over the comm, her voice tight. That's a tactical aerial assault position. I've seen this in the combat files. He's gaining high ground advantage. High ground? I sputtered. We're on a flat moon. There is no high ground. He's making his own high ground, sir. That's brilliant, actually. Terrifying, but brilliant. Drevin reached the apex of his arc and started coming back down. Slowly. Very slowly. Because again, 0.23 gravity. He had all the time in the world to survey the entire facility from up there, to identify weak points, to plan his next move. All units defensive positions, I heard myself saying. This is not a drill. Pattern Delta. Move, move. Sir, wait, Tolas said over the comm. He's not doing anything aggressive. He's just, falling. Is he falling? Why is he falling so slowly? It's a feint, Ren insisted. He's assessing our response time. Drevin touched down, his knees bending to absorb the impact. Then, without even pausing, he took another step, another casual, normal human walking step, and launched himself another 6 meters forward and 3 meters up. He's bounding, Cora shouted. Evasive maneuver pattern. He's using rapid repositioning tactics. Someone stop him, I yelled, which in retrospect was perhaps not my finest moment of command. How, sir? Ren asked, very reasonably. He's moving in 3 dimensions. We're trained for ground threats. Drevin landed again, 20 meters from where he'd started. Took another step, another launch. He was covering ground at an absolutely ridiculous pace. Our security team was scrambling to keep up, trying to figure out where he'd land next. Is he heading for the communications array? Tolas asked, panic creeping into his voice. I checked the trajectory. Oh, stars above, he is. He's going for our comms. He's trying to isolate us. Should we engage? Cora asked. No, he's a diplomat. We can't just shoot a diplomat. even if he's clearly executing a pre-planned assault pattern. I watched Dreven take another bounding step, his human legs propelling him across the landing pad with what looked like practiced ease. I don't know, maybe he doesn't realize, maybe humans move like this normally. Sir, no species moves like this normally. This is advanced combat mobility. Dreven was now 30 meters away and still going. Each step sent him sailing through the air in these long, graceful arcs. He looked completely calm about it too, like this was just a regular Tuesday for him. Behind him, my security team was trying to follow, but they were trained for low-gravity movement, careful steps, controlled motion, not whatever physics-defying nonsense the human was doing. Get me a tactical analysis, I ordered. I want to know where he's going and what he's planning. Working on it, sir, came the response from our combat systems specialist. But, his movement pattern doesn't match anything in our database. It's completely random. Random. I felt my throat sac inflate with stress. Or unpredictable. Is there a difference, sir? Yes. Random means we can't plan for it. Unpredictable means he's actively countering our predictions. One of those is way worse. On screen, Dreven took another step. Another massive bound. He was heading toward the edge of the landing pad now, toward the equipment storage area. He's going for the equipment, someone shouted. What's he going to do with the equipment? I don't know, I shouted back, but I'm pretty sure we're about to find out. This was a disaster. An absolute disaster. And it had been going on for maybe 90 seconds. We were so very, very doomed. Dreven landed near the equipment storage units and I swear on my ancestor scales he just stood there for a moment. Just stood there, looking around like he was admiring the view or something. Meanwhile, every alarm in my command center was screaming. He's stopped, Ren reported. The human has stopped moving. Is he evaluating his next target? I asked, leaning so close to my screen that my snout practically touched it. Unknown, sir. He's just standing there. Wait, he's pulling something out of his pocket. Weapon, Cora shouted. He's drawing a weapon. No, wait, it's a datapad. Just a datapad. I watched as Dreven pulled out a small rectangular device and started tapping on it. Casual. Easy. Like he wasn't surrounded by 8 increasingly panicked alien security officers who were pretty sure they were about to die. What's he doing with it? I demanded. He appears to be. Hold on, he's taking notes, sir. Notes. Notes about what? About our facility, presumably. He's gathering intelligence. Dreven tilted his head, looking at one of the cargo containers. Then he took another step toward it, and went airborne again. He's moving. Pattern shift. Direction change. This time, Dreven sailed in a lazy arc right over a loading drone. The drone's sensors went haywire, probably detecting this large mass suddenly appearing above it. The machine started spinning in circles trying to identify the threat. Dreven landed on the other side, stumbled just a tiny bit, which sent him into a small hop, which turned into another bound, which carried him straight toward the fuel storage indicators. The fuel storage. Tola screamed. Actually screamed. He's going for the fuel storage. He's going to sabotage our fuel reserves. All units converge on Sector 7, I ordered. Do not let him reach those tanks. My security team tried to run toward Dreven's position. Tried being the key word. In 0.23 gravity, running is less of a run and more of a series of controlled leaps. They looked like Qualic hatchlings learning to bounce. Slow. Awkward. Completely ineffective. Dreven, somehow, was just walking. Walking. And yet he was moving 3 times faster than my trained security personnel. How is he doing that? Cora panted over the comm. How is he so stable? High-gravity world adaptation. Our xenobiology specialist Officer Pelk chimed in from his station. Humans evolved on a planet with 4 times our current gravity. Their muscle density is insane. Every step here is like barely trying for them. So you're telling me he's not even trying? I felt my stress sac inflate even more. Pretty sure I looked like a balloon at this point. No, sir. To him, this is probably the equivalent of walking through water. Easy. Relaxing. Even. Relaxing. The human was having a relaxing stroll while my entire security team was having a collective breakdown. Dreven stopped again, this time right next to a fuel gauge. He leaned in close, examining it, tapped it with his finger, wrote something on his datapad. He's analyzing our fuel systems, I said. He's looking for weaknesses. Or, Pelk offered quietly, he's just checking if we have enough fuel capacity for their cargo ships. Not helping Pelk. Drevin straightened up, seemed satisfied with whatever he'd found, and took another step. This time he must have pushed off a little harder, 'cause he went up about 8 meters. 8. My entire command center went silent as we watched this human diplomat sail through the thin atmosphere of Talos 9 like some kind of gravity-defying missile. Did he just jump higher? Ren asked, his voice very small. He's escalating, Cora said. He's showing us what he's capable of. This is a demonstration of power. Or he just stepped wrong. Pelk suggested. Why are you still talking, Pelk? Drevin came down near the communications array. My worst fears, confirmed. He was going for our comms. He reached out toward one of the antenna mounts. He's touching the equipment. Tolis shouted. I repeat, physical contact with communications infrastructure. I watched, horrified as Drevin ran his hand along the antenna base, checking its stability probably, making sure it was properly anchored. You know, normal inspection things, but from where I was sitting it looked like he was identifying how to disable it most efficiently. Sir, we need to do something, Cora said. She'd finally caught up to Drevin's position, but she was keeping her distance. Smart. We can't just let him examine our entire facility. He's a diplomat on an approved inspection, I said. What am I supposed to do, tackle him? Can we tackle him, sir? I mean physically. Would that even work? Good question. Drevin had to weigh at least twice what any of us weighed, possibly more, and that was before accounting for the muscle density that Pelk kept going on about. Negative, Pelk said, because apparently he was just listening to everything now. Human bone structure is significantly denser than ours. Tackling him would be like tackling a cargo container. You'd break before he would. Wonderful. Just wonderful. Drevin finished examining the antenna and pulled out a small device from another pocket. For a moment, every weapon in my facility automatically targeted him. Then we realized it was just a measuring tool. He was measuring the antenna height. He's calculating angles. Someone shouted, attack angles, firing solutions, or antenna height for clearance requirements. Pelk countered. Pelk, I swear if you don't stop being reasonable right now. Drevin took another step, another bound, this time toward the main building, toward us. He's coming this way, Ren said. The human is approaching the command center. I could see him through the observation window now, getting closer with each impossible leap. His expression was calm, interested, maybe even happy, hard to tell with human faces. They're so flat and mobile, expressions just sliding around on there like they can't make up their minds. Should we lock down the building? Someone asked, and trap ourselves inside with no escape route? Great plan. Drevin was now about 50 meters away. 45, 40, each step covering an absurd amount of ground. My security team was scattered across the landing pad trying to regroup, trying to figure out how to even begin to intercept something that moved like that. Tactical analysis, I barked. Where's my tactical analysis? Still processing, sir. His movement pattern is it's fractal. Each step seems random, but they're all connected somehow. We've never seen anything like it. Fractal? What does that even mean? It means we have no idea where he's going next, sir. Drevin was at 30 meters now. I could see him clearly. He had this slight smile on his face. Actually looked like he was enjoying himself, having fun, while my entire command staff was on the verge of a collective panic attack. 20 meters. Sir, orders, Cora asked. 15 meters. I don't know. Just keep monitoring him. And someone get me a direct line to Terran command. I need to know if this is normal human behavior. 10 meters. Drevin stopped, looked right at the observation window, right at me, and waved. Just waved, friendly little hand gesture, like we were neighbors and he was saying hello. He's identified the command center, Cora said quietly. He knows where we are. Of course he does, I muttered. Of course he does. Drevin consulted his datapad again, made a few more notes, and then, to my absolute horror and slight relief, he turned around and started bounding back toward his ship. He's retreating, Tola said, returning to his vessel, or he's completed his reconnaissance and is returning to report, Cora suggested darkly. I watched Drevin make his way back across the landing pad in those same impossible leaps, covering in 30 seconds what would take us 5 minutes to walk. This is fine, I said to nobody in particular. This is completely fine. We just watched a human diplomat conduct a full facility assessment in under 10 minutes while moving like some kind of physics-ignoring nightmare creature. Totally fine. Normal day. Nothing to worry about. Pelk cleared his throat. Sir, if I may, I don't think you was. Not now, Pelk. Not now. Okay, so, here's where things went from bad to catastrophically embarrassing. Drevin wasn't done. Oh no. After making it back to his ship, he consulted with his crew for maybe 2 minutes, then came back out. More inspections, he said over the comm. Need to check the perimeter structural supports, he said. Standard protocol, he said. I'd heard enough about standard protocol to last me 3 lifetimes. We need to contain this, I told my team. If he's going to keep bounding around like a lunatic, we need countermeasures. Sir, what kind of countermeasures are we talking about? Cora asked, very carefully. Non-lethal. Obviously non-lethal. He's still a diplomat even if he is conducting some kind of bizarre mobile surveillance operation. Gravity nets? Suggested Officer Mira, our tactical specialist. We use them for cargo containment. Should work on a human, right? Should. That word should be banned from the military vocabulary. Deploy them, I ordered. Set them up along his projected path. When he makes his next jump, we snag him mid-air, bring him down gently, and then we can have a calm conversation about proper facility inspection procedures. Mira nodded and started coordinating with the engineering team. Within 5 minutes, we had 3 gravity nets positioned across the landing pad. These things were designed to catch and hold 20-ton cargo containers. 1 human. Should be easy. There's that word again. Drevin stepped out of his ship again, this time carrying a different measuring device. Something for checking structural integrity, probably. He gave another friendly wave toward our cameras and took his first step. Up he went, right toward our first net. Activating net 1, Mira said. Contact in 3, 2, 1. The gravity net fired, its energy field spreading out to catch Drevin mid-arc. For exactly half a second, I thought we'd done it. The net made contact, started to close around him. Then Drevin, without even seeming to notice, just pushed through it. Not violently, not aggressively. He just kept moving, and the net, designed to stop 20 tons of cargo, just sort of parted around him like he was walking through a curtain.
What?
Mira stared at her console. That's not possible. The net should have. Drevin landed, took another step, launched himself again. Net 2. I shouted. Hit him with net 2. Same result. The energy field made contact, tried to lock on, and Drevin just sailed right through it like it wasn't even there. Didn't slow down, didn't acknowledge it, just kept on his merry way, bounding across the facility. How is he doing that? Mira demanded. The nets are working. I can see them activating. He's just ignoring them. Pelk? I shouted. Explanation. Now. Well, sir. Humans have very dense molecular structures. Their bone and muscle composition is significantly different from standard species. The gravity nets are designed for cargo, which has a very different mass distribution. In simple terms, Pelk, he's too heavy and too compact. The nets can't get a proper grip. It's like trying to catch a ball bearing with a butterfly net. Drevin landed near one of the support columns, completely oblivious to the fact that he'd just walked through 2 military-grade containment systems. He tapped the column with his knuckles, listening to the sound it made, seemed satisfied, wrote more notes, took another step. Forget the nets, I said. Pursuit team, match his movements. Stay with him. Cora and Ren volunteered. Bless their determined hearts. They positioned themselves on either side of Drevin's projected path, and waited for him to make his next move. Drevin obliged, taking a step toward the eastern perimeter. Cora and Ren pushed off, trying to match his trajectory. They didn't even come close. Drevin went up 6 meters and forward 20. Cora and Ren went up maybe 3 meters and forward 8. They looked like baby quilts trying to fly for the first time. Lots of effort. Very little result. Drevin landed gracefully. Cora and Ren came down in a tumbling heap about 15 meters behind him. This is impossible, Ren groaned over the comm. He's not even trying. I can see his face. He's completely relaxed. Maybe if we time it better, Cora suggested, untangling herself from Ren. Anticipate his next jump. They tried again. Failed again. Drevin was now inspecting a ventilation unit while my best pursuit team was somewhere behind him, probably reconsidering their career choices. Tactical analysis. I barked at my combat computer. Give me something. Anything. The computer had been processing Drevin's movement data for the last 15 minutes. Surely it had figured something out by now. Analysis complete, the computer's calm voice announced. Movement pattern classification, indeterminate. What do you mean indeterminate? Subject's trajectory does not match any known combat doctrine, evasion protocol or tactical maneuver system. Pattern appears random but demonstrates consistent forward progress toward multiple inspection points. So you're saying there's no pattern?
Insufficient data to confirm intentional pattern.
Subject may be moving with no strategic planning whatsoever. I stared at the screen. You're telling me that our entire security system designed to counter sophisticated military threats cannot handle someone who is literally just walking around? Affirmative. I hate my job. I hate my job so much right now. On screen, Drevin had moved to another section of the facility. He was now examining the environmental seals on the main airlock, running his fingers along the edges, checking for gaps probably, or identifying weaknesses, or just being thorough. Who even knew anymore? What about barriers? Someone suggested. Physical barriers? Just put something in his path? Like what? I asked. A wall. You want me to build a wall to stop a diplomat from inspecting our facility? I mean, when you put it that way. Exactly. Drevin took another step. Another soaring leap. He was heading toward the south quadrant now, where we kept the backup generators. Someone just talked to him, I finally said. Cora, you're closest. Just ask him what he's doing. Sir, with respect, I'm 50 meters away from him, and getting farther by the second. Then run faster. Sir, I'm trying. He's just too fast. This was absurd. Completely absurd. We had sensors that could detect a ship entering the system from 2 light years away. We had computers that could calculate firing solutions for targets moving at 0.95 light speed. We had enough firepower to level a small asteroid, and we couldn't keep up with one human taking a walk. Drevin landed near the generator housing, examined it for a moment, nodded to himself like he'd confirmed something, and then started heading back toward the main landing pad. Is he done? Tolis asked hopefully. Please tell me he's done. Only one way to find out, I muttered, watching Drevin make his way back in those same impossible bounds, each step covering ridiculous distances while my security team struggled to even keep him in visual range. The sad part, I was pretty sure he still had no idea we'd tried to stop him. He probably thought we were just really bad at our jobs. And you know what? At that moment I couldn't even argue with that assessment. It was Pelk of all people who finally solved our crisis. Sir, he said quietly, have we considered just asking him what he's doing? I turned to stare at him. Asking him? Yes, sir. Direct communication. Via his comm unit. Just, a friendly inquiry about his activities. The entire command center went silent. 27 trained military personnel, and not one of us had thought to simply call the human and ask what he was up to. Cora, I said slowly, open a channel to Drevin Webb. Yes, sir. Channel open. I cleared my throat. Mr. Webb, this is Commander Vex. Do you copy? There was a brief pause. Drevin stopped mid-stride, which meant he launched himself into another arc, but at least he tapped his comm unit while airborne. Commander Vex. Yes, I copy. Is everything all right? You sound stressed. Stressed. I'd aged 17 years in the last 20 minutes. Mr. Webb, I need to ask you a question. What exactly are you doing out there? Another pause. Longer this time. Drevin landed, stumbled slightly, corrected himself with a small hop. I'm conducting the facility inspection, like I mentioned earlier, checking structural integrity, fuel capacity, communications equipment, all the standard items on the safety checklist. He sounded confused. Is there a problem? You're just inspecting the facility? Yes, that's what we agreed on. Is something wrong with my inspection? I can provide you with my checklist if you'd like to review it. I looked at Cora. She looked at me. We both looked at the tactical display showing Drevin's movement pattern across the facility, which our computers had labeled as advanced combat maneuvers. Mr. Webb, I said carefully, are you aware that you've been launching yourself 6 to 8 meters into the air with each step? Silence on the other end. Hello? I tried. Mr. Webb? I'm here. Sorry. Did you say launching? Yes. Launching. Into the air. Repeatedly. For the last 25 minutes. Oh. Drevin actually laughed. Oh wow, I'm so sorry. I completely forgot. This is my first time on a low-gravity moon. I've been having the time of my life out here. It's like walking on clouds. Every step is just whoosh. He made a sound effect. An actual sound effect. I didn't realize I was going that high. Your gravity here is what, 0.2, 0.3, 0.23 standard Gs, I said weakly. Right. Back home, We're sitting at about 1.0, so this is what? Less than a quarter of what I'm used to? Every step feels like I'm barely touching the ground. It's incredible. Cora's face had gone through several colors. She finally settled on a pale green, which in Zenthari physiology indicates extreme embarrassment. So you weren't. I tried to find the words. You weren't executing tactical maneuvers. Tactical maneuvers. Drevin sounded genuinely baffled. Commander, I'm a trade negotiator. I negotiate tariffs and shipping contracts. The most tactical thing I do is choose which conference room has the best coffee. I was just walking around, checking your equipment. Why? What did you think I was doing? I looked at my security team. At the gravity nets still deployed across the landing pad. At Cora and Ren, still nursing bruises from their failed pursuit attempts. At the tactical computer that had spent 15 minutes analyzing a human taking a casual stroll. Nothing, I said. We thought you were doing nothing. Everything is fine. Please continue your inspection.
Okay.
If you're sure, I'm almost done anyway. Just need to check the landing pad stress ratings and I'll be out of your hair.
Or, well, scales?
Do you have scales? I'm not actually sure what you... The landing pad is fine, Mr. Webb. It's rated for vessels 3 times the size of yours. You can skip that part. Oh, perfect. Then I guess I'm all set. See you back inside for the contract signing. Yes, inside, where there is normal gravity, and nobody is launching anywhere. Sounds good, Commander. The comm clicked off. I watched Drevin take one more step, one more beautiful, arcing, completely innocent step and bound back toward the airlock. Nobody spoke for a solid minute. So, Cora finally said, That happened. That happened. I confirmed. We mobilized a full security response, deployed military-grade containment systems, and initiated defensive protocols against a diplomat who was taking a walk. A very bouncy walk, Ren added. But yes, a walk. I'm going to need to file a report on this, I said quietly. An official incident report. Sir, Mira said gently. Maybe we could just not do that. We deployed gravity nets, Mira. There are logs, timestamps, security footage of our entire team failing to keep pace with a human moving at normal walking speed. Normal for him, Pell corrected. Technically in 0.23 gravity his walking speed translates to, Pelk, I will throw you out of an airlock. Noted, sir. Shutting up, sir. I pulled up the incident report template on my console and stared at it. How was I supposed to explain this? What was I supposed to write? Attention all personnel, I said over the facility-wide comm. Effective immediately, we are implementing new training protocols. Human movement orientation, mandatory for all security staff. Sir? Cora asked. Human movement orientation? Yes. Because apparently we need to learn the difference between an alien taking a casual stroll and a military assault. And maybe, just maybe, we should consider asking questions before we panic next time. Should we include that in the official report, sir? Absolutely not. The official report will say we conducted a routine security evaluation during a diplomatic visit and identified areas for procedural improvement. That's one way to put it. It's the only way I'm putting it. Drevin made it back to the airlock, gave one final wave to our cameras and disappeared inside. 20 minutes later he was back in the conference room, completely dry, completely calm, ready to sign trade agreements like he hadn't just given my entire security team a collective nervous breakdown. Great facility you have here, Commander, he said, shaking my hand again with that bone-crushing grip. Very solid construction. Should handle our cargo ships without any problems. Wonderful, I managed. Just wonderful.
And thanks for letting me stretch my legs out there. Been cooped up in the ship for 3 weeks. Felt good to move around in low gravity. Very freeing. You know how it is.
Sure. Absolutely. We know exactly how it is. We signed the contracts. Drevin left. His ship departed without incident. And I spent the next 4 hours writing the most carefully worded incident report in military history, which basically boiled down to humans move weird in low gravity. We panicked. Nobody was hurt except our pride. Please send better training materials. 3 weeks later, every security officer in our sector received a data packet titled Human Locomotion in Variable Gravity Environments, a comprehensive guide. The first line read, if you see a human bouncing, they are probably just walking. Do not panic. Probably. They had to include probably, because with humans you just never know. But at least now, when the next human diplomat shows up and starts bounding around like gravity is a suggestion rather than a law, we'll know what's happening. Probably. I hate that word.